22 countries can still qualify for the World Cup, but there are only 6 spots left. So in this video, we'll see every country that still has a chance to qualify, going from the smallest continent all the way to Europe, starting with Oceania, where New Zealand is already qualified, but another team that can still make it is New Caledonia. This country sits at 149th in the FIFA ranking, and it's a small set of islands in the middle of the Pacific. Yet they can still go to the World Cup. That's because they defeated Tahiti to reach the final of the Oceania qualifiers. And even though they lost to New Zealand, just by reaching the final, New Caledonia secured the first of the 6 intercontinental playoff spots. From these 6 countries, only 2 will qualify. So now let's go to the next continent, Asia. Of all Asian countries, 8 are already qualified and 38 are eliminated. But there's one that still has a chance, Iraq. Iraq was dreaming of coming back to the World Cup, but in their Asian qualifying group, where only the top 2 advanced, Iraq finished 3rd. Then they were placed in another group for a second chance, but once again they just missed out, finishing behind Saudi Arabia. So Iraq's only hope was to qualify through the playoffs, but first they still had to beat the UAE. So they did it and their World Cup dream remains alive. But these intercontinental playoffs doesn't even compare to Europe's playoffs. Going now to Africa, 44 countries were eliminated while 9 have qualified. But Africa can still have one more team in the tournament, the Democratic Republic of Congo. In the qualifiers, Congo was placed in a group with Senegal, Sudan and others. But only the top team advanced directly, and Congo finished 2nd. So now their only hope for the World Cup was through the playoffs. But Nigeria, Gabon and Cameroon were also fighting for that spot. And that's when Congo stunned everyone. They defeated Cameroon, and then in the final match against Nigeria, they drew 1-1 to win on penalties. It's definitely much tougher than Oceania. Next, we go to South America, where 6 countries qualified directly and 3 were eliminated. But the country that finished 7th would still have a chance to the playoffs. And it all came down to the final round between Venezuela and Bolivia. Everyone was sure it was Venezuela going through, cause Bolivia would only qualify if they beat Brazil, an impossible mission. But Bolivia had a strategy. They scheduled a match in a stadium over 4,000 meters above sea level, literally the 2nd highest stadium in the world. At that altitude, the air has less oxygen, and Brazil's players couldn't even catch their breath, while the Bolivians were used to it. So they managed to hold off Brazil's attack, scored a penalty and won by 1-0. Meanwhile, Venezuela lost their match, so Bolivia secured a spot in the playoff. But before we get to Europe, there are 2 more teams to fill out those spots. One of them is Jamaica. Jamaica plays in the North and Central American Confederation, and since the USA, Mexico and Canada didn't play the qualifiers, it became much easier for smaller teams to reach the World Cup. So to qualify, Jamaica just needed to finish first in the group with smaller teams like Curaçao, Trinidad and Tobago and Bermuda. It had never been that easy. But then came the surprise. Curaçao, a much smaller country, beat Jamaica. So they dropped to 2nd place and were sent to the playoffs. But Jamaica is strong compared to the other country that also has a chance at the World Cup, Suriname. Suriname is a country that borders Brazil, but its national team plays for North and Central America. At the time of the recording of this video, Suriname is at 123rd in the FIFA ranking. So in a group with Panama, Guatemala and El Salvador, everyone thought they had no chance. But Suriname managed 2 wins and 3 draws, finishing 2nd place. These 6 teams are divided into 2 paths, Path A and Path B. Whoever wins each path goes straight to the World Cup. 6 teams for 2 spots is already tough, but even crazier is the European playoffs. UEFA has 55 national teams, so they took all those countries and divided them into 12 groups, where the winner of each group qualified directly to the World Cup. But there were still 4 spots left to be filled, so for that they have a playoff, where they took the runners-up from each group. And the first European team that still has a chance is Slovakia, that finished behind Germany, but they are just one of the 16 teams competing for these 4 spots. Now, a truly unexpected team that still has a chance to reach the World Cup came from the next group. In the one with Sweden, Slovenia and Switzerland, there was Kosovo, a small country that isn't even recognized by many nations. But they surprised everyone, getting 3 wins and 2 draws. So they finished in 2nd place, headed to the UEFA playoffs. For context, all these teams are divided into 4 paths. Each path gives 1 spot in the World Cup. and in the draw Kosovo ended up in Path C with Slovakia. Now in the next group, Belarus and Greece were eliminated early, so the fight ended up being between Scotland and Denmark. They faced each other in the very last round. Scotland had 1 point less, so they needed to win, but their dream was slipping away, because after scoring 2 goals, Denmark equalized twice, and the match reached the 90th minute at 2-2. But all of a sudden,
Ferguson's header given away, but it breaks the Tierney!
After that, Scotland scored another one with a stunning long-range goal. So they finished first in the group and Denmark dropped to second, heading straight to the playoffs, being placed on Path D. Next, in the following group, Ukraine finished behind France, so they will have to play in the playoffs, and they ended up in Path B. Meanwhile, in the following group, it was Turkey, so they were drawn into Path C, where they will have to face Slovakia and Kosovo. But the most unbelievable story came from the next group, in the one with Portugal, Hungary, Ireland and Armenia. To simplify it, Portugal finished first and Armenia had no chance, so that playoff spot would be decided between Ireland and Hungary. However, when the last match day arrived, Hungary was ahead of Ireland, and the two would face each other. Whichever team lost here would be completely eliminated. So Hungary scored first, and late in the second half they were winning 2-1, until Ireland equalized. For Hungary, their result still kept them in the playoffs, but when the match reached the very last second,
All on this from Queeveen Kelleher. Scales is up after it. Scales wins the header. There's a chance! Yeah! Oh, there's the goal! There's the goal! That's Troy Parrott!
with that, Ireland secured a spot in the playoffs. Their dream of coming back is still alive, but for that, they'll have to go through Path D. Next up, another country still with a chance to qualify is Poland, which ended up in Path B. After that, in the following group, it was Bosnia, placed in Path A. And the next country heading to the playoffs is Italy, that missed the last 2 World Cups, and this time expected to qualify easily. But Norway surprised everyone by winning all their matches. So Italy finished second and had to go through the playoffs again, landing in Path A. Another country that will have to face Italy to reach the World Cup is Wales, which also ended up in Path A. Then in the next group it was Albania finishing behind England, and in the following group the Czech Republic, both placed in Paths B and D. But these playoffs are made with 16 teams, so there are still 4 more countries to fill out those spots. And here where everything gets confusing. The way they decided to add 4 more countries is using the Nations League. If a country finished first in their Nations League group but hadn't already qualified for anything else, they would get that spot. So in the 3rd division of the Nations League, Romania finished first in their group, and that's how they earned a spot in the playoffs, landing in Path C. The same happened with Northern Ireland, which ended up in Path A, and North Macedonia, which landed in Path D. And that's why Sweden, despite a terrible campaign, still survived. They had been leaders of their Nations League group, so they secured a spot in the playoffs, ending up in Path B. In each path, only 1 team will qualify, and all these matches will take place in March 2026. So what did you think of this video? If you enjoyed it, I think you're gonna like this one too. So thanks for watching and bye!